Hi there and welcome back to my channel! My name is Georgina and I am the Honest Vocal Coach. As you will see, I'm looking a little bit dishevelled today. It's been a really long 2 weeks. I've had so much going on, as you could probably see by the amount of videos that I was pumping out. Reactions to rehearsals, recaps on semi-finals, going to actually see Eurovision in Liverpool and vlogging. And doing craft fairs, so I've had a really busy few weeks. In fact, I've had quite a busy time with the whole of Eurovision, so I'm looking a little bit dishevelled, but there we go. You know, we don't always look perfect and I'm real. That's how it is. Right, so this is the final Eurovision video for a little while. I'll probably be doing like recaps on other singers from over the years and comparing who's best and the best singers from whatever year and things like that. But I will be taking a tiny little bit of a break from Eurovision after this last recap because I've been doing it since December. I want to show my audience that Eurovision is incredible. It is united in music. It is the best thing ever. But there's a lot more going on as well. So let's dive into the grand final recap won by Sweden. Okay, so the intro was fab. It was really nice to see so many different faces pop up throughout the intro. There was Joss Stone, we even got a royal playing the piano. I thought it was a really brilliant way that they got the show started. Go A as well, performing. I thought that was pretty awesome. Tina Carroll, not sure she was singing live though. Also didn't think that Netta was singing live at the end either. Maybe a little bit of it she was, but I do believe that some of the guests that, you know, were performing specially might have been miming. I could be wrong, but I think Tina Carroll definitely and Netta highly likely as well. First up for the grand final was Austria, one of my personal favourites. Po, 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 po. Just brilliant. Got the audience going so well. I thought the harmonies were good, but I'm pretty sure that there was one that was just a little bit flat. It was one of the higher notes. But overall, a really awesome performance. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details for this final recap, because those of you that have been following my channel for the last 4 months will know that I've done quite in-depth reactions on every single song, and also recaps on the first and second finals, so you'll be able to find all the details of everything that I've said about the song itself and what I thought. But I'm just doing, you know, a quick recap on the entire final. So next up was Portugal. I thought it was the best vocal that she'd actually done in the competition. It was confident, it was engaging, the middle eight was the best part of the song, and her head voice is just stunning. So on to Switzerland. I'm so pleased that this actually made to the final because I thought it was really well deserved. I thought it could have been lost, this song, but very pleased that it got to the final. His voice was so expressive, so many dynamics. The second verse really picked up. It made a big difference when he got to the second verse, almost like he was holding himself back for that moment. And not for a second was he out of breath. Poland, I'm still not sure how Poland got into the grand final. I'm really not. There was others that could have gone through, to be quite honest. I really wasn't sure how much of it she was actually singing live. I think they actually turned her down and the vocal on the backing track was louder than her singing because it just, I don't know. She's not got the greatest voice. It's kind of nasal, and I think that they used the backing track more than they should have to try and cover up the fact that she wasn't the best singer in the world. Not a great fan of the song either. I thought it was kind of dated. Right, next up was Serbia in the giant soap dish, as Graham Norton called it, which I thought was quite funny. I don't know if it's a soap dish, but it was kind of cute. I thought it was really pitchy. I'm sorry, Luke, it was really pitchy, and I think the song was overall just a little bit too weird for the general audience for it to actually get anywhere in the competition. France. Now, France seemed to have a lot more attitude than I realised she had, because at the end she was giving some, kind of rude hand movements when she wasn't getting the points that she wanted, and I didn't expect that. I was a bit like, all right, okay, let's always stay professional, let's not do that. In her performance, I thought she was very, very nervous, but I think I would have been nervous with this thing stuck up my back, holding me still, and then the fact that the plinth goes up and she's still got to sing while it's moving. I think I would have been nervous. Her vocals were good though, really good, but it just didn't seem to be enough to win the competition. Okay, so Cyprus, really good vocal. He could properly get those high notes. It was way better than any of the ones that I'd seen, because I saw it in the arena on the second semi-final, and he really knew what he was doing vocally. There were vocals on the track that were boosting his performance, but he totally held his own. There was a riff near the end though, and I think he may have forgot to breathe, because by the end of it, it was very tight and he was trying to squeeze it out. But overall, it was a cracking performance. Spain, such a phenomenal voice. Her ability is just fantastic. One of the best singers in the total competition. Not my cup of tea, the song though. I've said this before. I thought it was a bit harsh. Just not really a fan of it. No care about the Sweden, the winners of the whole night. It was an epic performance. Literally all the notes I've written down in my notepad is just epic, exclamation mark. I got the shivers, I got everything. Just the best confidence. She was so expressive, so emotive. She gave me the shivers. The whole staging of it, even though we had the smaller box that she was in, or the waffle maker, as Graham Norton said, which, I'm not sure if that's rude or not, but anyway, it still worked. Not as good as the big box that was used, but it was still really epic and a really well-deserving winner. I've noticed a bit of sort of chat this morning on Instagram and the Eurovision groups and stuff, and they're all, like, oh, did she deserve to win? Absolutely did she deserve to win. It wasn't just the fact that she had won before. Like, yeah, we love Loreen, she'd won before. We love her. It wasn't the fact that she'd won before. It was the fact that this song was really good and completely deserved to be a winner. Albania, really passionate performance, very traditional in style. The young brother, I think, he proper got into it, despite the fact I don't think he really wanted to do it. I thought it was a good performance. Not my cup of tea, the song, but a good performance. Okay, on to Italy. So composed. He really kept the adrenaline in. And I've said this before in my recaps that it's a really hard job. It looks kind of cool on the TV when you watch them and you think, oh, well, they just got to sing. No, there's so much more to it than that. There's camera angles, there's visuals, there's so much going on that you've got to remember. And it's a real big job. So hats off to all the performers that performed in Eurovision. Oh, I did notice, though, by the end for Italy, his adrenaline was running wild. You could see he was really emotional by the end of the performance. Estonia, my favourite song. It just is. And I think that's because I like singing it, but also because it had a real story throughout it. It had a nice concept. I thought her vocal was exceptional. Probably a little bit more shaky on the grand final than it was on the semi-final that I saw in the arena. She did look a little bit more kind of nervous, I guess. The belt in the semi was definitely better than the grand final, and I felt that there was way too much walking. It was almost like someone said, you need to use all the space on the stage. So she's walking here, walking there, walking somewhere else, and I didn't think she needed that. I think that affected her performance. Finland, just bonkers, completely well deserved of being the second. If you actually look at the lyrics though, they are just bonkers. If you have them translated and look through them, you're like, what are we on about? It's just bonkers fun, totally Eurovision. The teeth of the dancers was just fantastic, and I thought it was awesome. Vesna, love the message of this one. It was a tough job for them because there was a lot of movement. So at times she was out of breath and struggling to keep it all together. But I think because there was more of them on stage, it kind of had that chemistry and kept it flowing. Everything's all right. Australia. Now, I said at the beginning that Australia was awesome. It was actually at the top of my list to start off with, but then when I saw Sweden, it just came down a little bit. But I just love the sound of it. It's very slick. The car on stage was awesome. The performance vocally was really, really composed. The fact that there's two of them doing vocals as well, I think that added to it. The fact that there's some growls and some screamo stuff in there, I thought it was cracking stuff, and they did awesome. The world got me going crazy. I carry on. See, I carry on. Belgium! I was really pleased how well Belgium did as it was coming up in the votes near the end. You know, when we get to the public results and we're like, oh, it's all changing, what is going to happen? Scary moments. And the Belgium was just starting to lift up. I'm like, this is great. It was such a disco tune. The lyrics were not the strongest. It was a little bit generic and obvious, but the chorus was awesome. The whole vibe of it was just brilliant, and I liked it. Armenia, loved the lyrics. The harmonies were very beautiful. I thought she performed it very well. I just think it might be a little bit more sort of niche song, but then again, you know, it did do fairly well on the leaderboard. Moldova. Now, Moldova, I've said this before, the song itself just felt too much like Ukraine from last year. With the kaval, I've remembered it, I wrote it down, the kaval flute, and it was really difficult to hear his vocals at times. I was like, I can't hear the guy. His vocals were really weak in places. I noticed as well, when the girls came on, they completely was like, oh my god, these girls are awesome, and his vocal just didn't come up to par with them. Don't get how you feel. Get out of my way, yeah. Ukraine, the visuals were absolutely awesome, worked really well, but his vocals were really pitchy. Unfortunately, they were, and I think that may have affected the final sort of result. Germany, the poshest rock song we have ever heard. You got to watch my reaction to the first time I saw it, because it's the diction is so interesting. It's like super posh, and then all of a sudden we get these massive growls and screams and stuff, and it's like, what's happening here? This is the poshest rock song everywhere ever. I thought the outfit was a choice. It was a little bit on the tight side for the lead singer, with like one leg and not the other leg, but yeah, it's not. I wasn't a fan of this one. Lithuania. It was the belt that kept the whole of this song together. That was the best part of the song. I thought the belt just rocked the whole song. And also the that bit was pretty cool as well. I just think there was something missing from the song, which was a bit of a shame. I think it could have done better, but what was missing, I'm not sure. Israel, Graham Norton said she was an absolute star, and I completely agree. When I watched that particular semi that she was in, she just lit up the whole stage. The fact that there was a dance break at the end as well really kind of lifted the song. It gave us something sort of visually to look at, because it's not just about the vocals. Sometimes we need other things to really lift a song. And the fact that she could really dance, do you want to see me dance? Just, it was great. Slovenia, I like this song. I thought they performed it really well. They were kind of cheeky chappies. It felt like a late 90s kind of indie track. Reminded me of like Supergrass and that kind of era. I thought it was a good performance. The overall sound was really good. Croatia, my personally worst song. I thought that there was no melody in this song, monotone through the verses, and then this weird kind of effecty sound thing, and then a bit of a chorus. I just thought the song wasn't that great. I wasn't a big fan of what it was about. I just, I don't know, it didn't get me. I mean, I love the madness of Eurovision, I do, don't get me wrong, but this one, no. So finally we get to the UK. Now, not the best vocal to start with. It was really weak. Once she came down the stairs, the vocal improved massively on that second verse. The chorus was super catchy, but it was missing something. It was like there wasn't enough backing vocals on the chorus to boost it. It seemed quite low down in the mix. I didn't hear the lyrics very well on a chorus. And I think that's probably why it came, close to the bottom in the results, because vocally the performance wasn't that great. The song, super catchy, very poppy. I like the staging of it, but unfortunately her vocal just wasn't that strong. So then we got this awesome performance of the Liverpool songbook, which was just great. We got a little bit of John Lennon, and we got Sonia in the middle of it. That was slightly crazy. It suddenly went a little bit karaoke and weird. But anyway, it was nice to see Sonia performing. The version of Whole Again, oh my God. It was absolutely genius. I mean, I worked with Natasha from Atomic Kitten for a short period of time on a TV show, and I think she would love this. She'd be like, yeah, that's really going to boost our single again, and it's going to bring it back up the charts, because she's all for that kind of thing. Let's get a little bit more exposure. But I thought it was genius. And I Turn to You, Mel C's song, that was fantastic. I love the water trough that she was in. I thought her vocal was fantastic. I did a cover of her song last year because I thought she had one of the best vocals in the competition, and I just thought it was genius. Sonia was out of time though at times. I'm like, yeah. Duncan, I think, had the whole of the UK crying, singing You'll Never Walk Alone. And then we got to the judges bit at the end. So you get all of the juries from all of the countries. They give their points, their 12 points and all of that. And that goes up the board and takes like 45 minutes. By which time you're all going off to get a cup of tea and having a wee and all that. And then you get to the end part where it's the public vote and the rest of the world points that then get added. And it goes backwards. So what you think is like, okay, these people could win, completely changes as it all starts moving around the board again. And Sweden got so many points in the beginning. I just felt that they were going to win. For me, it was always going to be either Sweden Israel or Italy. I felt that they were really strong songs, really strong performances, and they could probably win this thing. And as I discovered, I got it right. I can do a little happy dance. That this year I did get it right. I said Sweden early on, and it was very well deserved. So thank you for watching my recap. Thank you for being with me throughout Eurovision. Don't leave me though. Don't unsubscribe, because that's the end of Eurovision. Because the Eurovision depression's gonna kick in, and it's pretty awful. You know, we all get a bit sad. It's like a show's ended that you've been in, and it's like, now what happens? You lose kind of a family for a little bit of time. It's kind of heartbreaking. But Sweden next year. I've so got to find out everything I can. How do I get tickets? How can I actually be there? How can I cover the entire thing this time round? Thank you, Eurovision, though, for accrediting me of the online. But next year, I want to be there. I want to do more. So, again, thank you very much for following me throughout this Eurovision period. I will be back with my normal stuff, and we're going to be looking at Lionel Richie next week. I'm told Lionel Richie performed at the coronation, and it was quite a different kind of vocal that we're used to from Lionel Richie, and also Katy Perry. So yeah, I'm going to be looking at those next week. So please stay subscribed, or subscribed if you're not already, and I'll see you in the next one. Po 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 po. Bye, loves.